Okay, the next few days we'll learn a little bit about Shavuos. There's a lot of dinim about Shavuos, not as many as about Pesach and as Sukkot. In fact, it was interesting in the still goes on today because everyone spoke about it. The Yom Tov Shavuos, generally speaking, has no unique dinim. Sukkot, you have Sukkah, Lulav and Esrog, there's a lot of questions. Pesach, for sure, there's a lot of questions. So, years ago, the Rabbonim, those that had to make halachic rulings, were not able to go to the Rebbe for Sukkot or for Pesach. They had to be home. There was a lot of questions. Shavuos, they didn't have so many shilas. It's a regular Yom Tov shilas, so to speak, which applies anyway to Pesach and Sukkot. So they used to go to the Rabbeim for Sukkot. I mean, for Shavuos. In fact, they called Shavuos Chag HaMatzos. Why is it called Chag HaMatzos? Matz, for a Rav, is called a matz because Meir Tzedek. He shows you the right way in halacha how to do things. So Rav was called Meir Tzedek. So the Rabbonim years ago so Shavuos was called in Lubavitch, in the city of Lubavitch, it was called Chag HaMatzos because they all used to come to the Rebbe. So many years later, I remember the year it happened. The Rav of Kfar Chabad came to the Rebbe for Shavuos. Before that, it wasn't a common thing that the Rabbanim went to the Rebbe for Shavuos. And the Rebbe spoke a whole sikha then. Why Rabbanim have to come to Shavuos, to the Rebbe, to be able to paskin shilas the whole year. And since then, Rabbanim that don't have shuls, that they have to stay in the shuls, they would all go to New York. Those that mamish Rabbanim that just paskin shilas whole, they didn't run meistis. They would go to, even today, they still go to New York for Shavuos. So anyway, coming back to the actual Yom Tov Shavuos, this year is a little bit different because it's Erev Shavuos is Shabbos. But now, tonight is Rosh Chodesh, okay? So there are opinions that hold that from Rosh Chodesh, okay, you have different minhagim with Sfira. Like the Sfardim, after Lag BaOmer, Sfira is over, they make weddings, they listen to music, it's all over. Officially, Ashkenazim wait until Shleishis Yimei Hagbala, which are the 3 preparatory days before Shavuos, which this year would be Shabbos, Friday, and Thursday. These are the 3 preparatory days before Shavuos. Some people are now making on Rosh Chodesh to keep, lenient. So now they make weddings on Rosh Chodesh already, which is tonight. Technically, you'd be allowed, halachically, you could take a haircut, Shleishis Yimei Hagbala. I'm saying people, Ashkenazim, that keep it the whole time. Halachically, you could take a haircut Shleishis Yimei Hagbala, which this case would be Shabbos and Thursday and Friday. Shabbos, Friday, and Thursday. So Wednesday night after Tzei Chavim, you would be allowed to listen to music and take haircuts and do weddings, and even that was, by the way, wasn't so simple. Years ago in Lubavitch, they didn't make weddings like Shleishis Yimei Hagbala. Then the story with a wedding with the Rosh Hashiva of Lubavitch, and he wrote a letter into the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, you have a Rav in the family, you let him paskin. Anyway, so then they started making weddings in Lubavitch, Shleishis Yimei Hagbala. Now they already make it from Rosh Chodesh on. Why, I don't know, but that's what they do. So halachically, you would be allowed to take haircuts Wednesday night. Okay, Wednesday night. No, Tuesday night. Tuesday night after Tzei Chavim, because you have Wednesday, Thursday, no, I'm sorry. Wednesday night after Tzei Chavim, because then you have Thursday, Friday, and Shabbos. But the Rebbe Rashab said, it's based on Mamish, the Arizal writes the same thing, by the way. The Arizal writes that you shouldn't take haircuts until Erev Shavuos, Mamish Erev Shavuos, which means the night and the day of Erev Shavuos. This year, Erev Shavuos is Shabbos, so you can't take a haircut, obviously, Shabbos. So even according to our minhag, we take a haircut Thursday night after Ma'ariv, and the whole day Friday we could take haircuts. Now, as far as those people that are lenient from Rosh Chodesh, nevertheless, Rosh Chodesh, you don't take haircuts. Any Rosh Chodesh of the year. You don't cut your hair on Rosh Chodesh. The reason for that is that there's no reason. The reason is that Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, and by the way, this din is brought down in Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe even brings it down in Shulchan Aruch in the din of Erev Shabbos. that you don't take a haircut, and Rabbi Yehuda Chassid writes it's even sakana. I don't know what that means. It's Kabbalistic stuff. It's sakana. It's dangerous to take a haircut on Rosh Chodesh. So we never take haircuts on Rosh Chodesh, even during the year. We don't even make an upsherinish. If a kid's birthday is Rosh Chodesh, we don't make an upsherinish. Cutting the nails is interesting. Cutting the nails on Rosh Chodesh, Rabbi Yehuda Chassid also writes no cutting nails. He writes hair and nails, not to cut Rosh Chodesh. It's interesting, the whole discussion about this. The Alter Rebbe in Simon Reish Samach, I believe it is, when he talks about getting ready for Shabbos, the Alter Rebbe speaks about cutting nails and cutting hair. And then he says that hair, though, you don't cut if it's Rosh Chodesh, even at a Shabbos. You don't cut hair on Rosh Chodesh regardless. Nails, the Alter Rebbe doesn't mention. He doesn't say about not cutting. It says don't cut hair on Friday if it's Rosh Chodesh. When he speaks about cutting nails, he doesn't talk about that if it's Rosh Chodesh, you don't cut nails. So the whole discussion, whether the Alter Rebbe B'chal doesn't hold of the whole nail thing on Rosh Chodesh, and some guys want to say that the Alter Rebbe does hold of it, but not when it's Erev Shabbos. In other words, normally the Alter Rebbe would say you don't cut nails on Rosh Chodesh, but Erev Shabbos, and they differentiate halacha between hair and nails. Why hair on Rosh Chodesh you don't cut even if it's Erev Shabbos, and nails if it's Erev Shabbos you can cut on Rosh Chodesh. But normally during the year you don't cut nails or hair on Rosh Chodesh. And according to Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, it's called sakana. What?
Erev Chag, it's better to do it during the day or night?
You mean the night before? No difference. Absolutely no.
What if you wait afterwards? Is it a mitzvah to do a haircut before?
It depends how long your hair is.
If it's not, then it's okay.
If somebody is bald, I don't need to take a haircut. Ideally, in Shulchan it says you're supposed to take a haircut at a shuas, not enter the Yom Tov Kshu Menuva. Menuva means disgusting. According to halacha, long hair is called despicable. That's what it says in halacha. So, God, it's halacha says if you have long hair. If you don't have long hair, you don't have to cut it. I mean, you know. What?
In some parts of the world, there was this called the Festival of Flowers. You know where that from?
There's a minig, we'll get there. There's a minig which we don't have, that many people decorate the shul with greenery and flowers. Why? Because Har Sinai, at the time of Matan Torah, was, it says, even though it's a desert and it's, but then when Hashem gave the Torah, Har Sinai was decorated with trees and flowers and, you know, Hashem made it happen. But they didn't plant them, obviously. So therefore, there's a minig in many places that you put flowers and trees in shul.
In Iran, the flower is called Shavuot Chag.
That's what he said, no? It's called flowers. Holiday of flowers. Now it's interesting because concerning flowers in the shul of pearl, it's not Chabad minig to do it. But trees, some people have a noyag and lahamid ilonis, b'beis knesses and all that. And some poskim write that you're not allowed to put trees in a shul, even for not flowers, but trees you shouldn't put into a shul because leisita locha asheda kol eitz, because the goyim used to have the asheda trees in their places of Avodah Zarah, and the Torah warns leisita locha asheda kol eitz, you're not allowed to plant this tree. So some poskim scream at the minig of putting trees, and other people say no, this is different, and they do it. So that's where. Now, just to explain, not that God forbid this is about Shavuos, that's the reason for Shavuos. But Father's Day and Mother's Day was created by florists. Florists. Hallmark cards, florists, chocolate companies. They wanted a day to make some money. So they would, no, I'm not joking, if you look in the origin of all this stuff, they were the ones that initiated Father's Day, Mother's Day, then they have Mother-in-law's Day and Secretary's Day and this day and that day, whatever. They should make one day God's Day, that everybody should, my chocolate for God. Okay, so, now also Erev Yom Tov. Erev Yom Tov, you have to give a lot of tzedakah, it says. B'chal Erev Yom Tov, give tzedakah. So it's brought down in halacha, and the Rebbe mentions this many times, that let's say it's a 2-day Yom Tiv, so you should give tzedakah for 2 days. Because on Yom Tiv you can't give tzedakah, so you should give tzedakah for 2 days. Now this year it's 3 days, So you should give tzedakah for 3 days, meaning Friday, you should give tzedakah for 3 days, for Shabbos and Sunday and Monday. Then you have Yiska the second day of Shavuos. The main, it says in Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe brings this down also, by the way, the main thing of Yisker is the tzedakah which is pledged at the time of Yisker. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. It's not so much making the Ashkava or the Yisker or the Kelmole. The main thing it says in, huh? Yes, the rabbis made Yisker for fundraising. I'll tell you one thing, you sure ain't building a shul on the money coming in by Yisker. Huh? Okay. Anyway, it's also a mitzvah to take a haircut. We said cut your nails, wash in hot water for Chabad Shabbos, and go to mikveh. It says Chai Vaad Rabbonim Lubavitch beregel. If possible, people should go to the mikveh and so on and so forth. Now, just one interesting din, because it's getting late. I have to leave, but Myra will be in a few minutes later. And that is that Shabbos is Erev Shavuos. So one thing it's good, because technically you can go to sleep Shabbos afternoon and be up at night, Saturday night. Like this, Erev Yom Tov, everybody's busy. By the time it comes to stay up at night, so the halacha is like this. You're allowed to sleep on Shabbos with the intent of being able to stay up at night. But in Hilchos Shabbos it says, you're not allowed to say, I'm going to sleep to be up at night, because then you're preparing from Shabbos to the after Shabbos. So you have to say, I'm going to sleep. You can't tell your kids, go to sleep, that you should stay up tonight, because then you're preparing from Shabbos to the weekday. But because sleeping is enjoyment, so you just sleep on Shabbos, Shina b'Shabbos Tainug, so then that's not a problem. Okay.